Good morning, church. Today is Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022, and our topic for today's Open Heaven is fruitful fast. The memory verse is taken from 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 7, and it says, "Be ye strong, therefore, and let not your hands be weak, for your work shall be rewarded." The reading is taken from Isaiah chapter 58, verse 6 to 12, and it says, "Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of the yoke, the putting forth of the finger and speaking vanity, and if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. And the Lord shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. The message: a period of fasting is a time of consecration, a time to take one's attention off everything around and focus on God. As a young convert, there were times that I got so busy while fasting that I would break the fast in the evening after saying a very brief prayer. Before, I had little or no time to pray and study the word, because this made me feel guilty a lot. But I grew older. I discovered that aside from having enough time to pray and study the word, there are certain things that God expects from his children when they embark on a fast. And if those things are not fulfilled, one will fast and pray in vain. Isaiah chapter 58, verse 6 to 7 says, "Is not the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh." Don't get me wrong. You must have time for prayer and meditation on God's word while fasting, but most importantly, you must fulfill criteria such as being just and giving to the poor, as stated in the message above. Thank you. Have a blessed day.